Alright, good morning everybody. Welcome back to another stream here on the Silence Cast channel. If I'm a little bit out of breath, I'll explain momentarily, but welcome. Hope everyone's been having a better day than I have so far, to say the least. Whether it be a morning or afternoon, hopefully all is going well for you. Of course, for those who may be a first time joiner here to this stream, my name's Silent. I am a caster of over a decade at this point here. Started doing commentary formed just by myself when StarCraft 2 released in 2010. Had a couple of opportunities and some local events. Was able to do a long stint as a full-time broadcaster in college esports for easily one of the world's best teams. But eventually had to end up leaving that, and now I am here for our next stream here, doing some more Illuvium content, and I might be a little bit out of it here today, and I do apologize. A little bit of additional silent lore. Over the last 5 years, I have been fighting my landlord to actually fix the roof of my crappy little apartment here, and let's just say the patch jobs every 6 months aren't necessarily going to cut it, even taking them to court and things like that. It's been a very, very long process. We had about 3 months of peace where everything was holding strong with no leaks and no collapsing. Woke up this morning to an absolute flooded bedroom there for my 2 sons. And the process is starting all over again. So definitely a little bit rough. It's all situated for now, managed with pots and pans and whatnot. Called everybody I needed to in order to get that process moving again, hopefully. But not gonna lie, a little bit down, but I'm still happy to be here today. I'm gonna try to not let that ruin the mood here and just have a fantastic time, because we still have an absolute packed 2 hours or so of stream time to go up against here. Game plan for today, we've got a little bit of everything. I'm gonna start things off. It's not going to be a best teams list, because this patch is still extremely new, and one of the things that I've been saying pretty consistently, at least on the streams when I was playing myself, this patch is killing me for the most part. I've been having a very, very hard time breaking it into the top 4. My last 2 times where I played the Illuvium on stream, or Illuvium Arena on stream, I got destroyed. I was lucky to, I think, get 4th maybe one time, maybe a 3rd or something. But majority of them have been like 6, 7. Oh god, I just 6, 7. 8 or something along those lines. But I think I found my team. I think I found what I've been really enjoying, and I want to share that, which is, of course, with these Aegis teams I've been having a lot of success with, and I want to share that to all of you. Of course, regardless of which platform you happen to be on, I do have the chat windows open of every single one, so any sort of comments, questions, or conversations you want to have while we're doing all of this, I can see all of you. It's not a mandatory thing, of course. You don't have to say anything. Just feel free to sit back and relax, but gladly have you, and thank you for being here nonetheless. So we've got the... I'll have 5. I have 5 Aegis teams that I'm going to be showing off with you. Then, second thing on the docket, I want to try and see if we can dedicate maybe 40 minutes or so, maybe an hour, finishing off the Axodon hunt. We got the drone. Now we need the suit. So once we get the suits, the Axodon line will be complete here for me. Want to do that. Then after that, we'll hop into Illuvium Arena. I want to see if maybe I can showcase some of these Aegis teams in action for everybody here today. And hopefully I don't get the reverse of streamer luck, where I just get bodied once I say something is so good. But it's a potential to happen. And of course, wrapping things up with the Illuvium 0 cooldown lap, where just get my Illuvium 0 dailies done while sitting and chatting with everybody. So, without further ado, get everything situated here. Going to go towards those 5 teams in just a moment's time. I do it. Yeah, let's start with this. Okay. Let's get it. There we go. Drake. if I'm saying your name incorrectly, I apologize. But Drake, good to see you. Thank you for hopping on board. Let's get it. We're going to get into it absolutely right here, right now. Let's hop on over to my display capture. Line this up. Hopefully not get sent to the Shadow Realm. Not bad. We're looking good. All right. So, of course, not going to lie, this new patch has been extremely fun, but it's been absolutely killing me. I've been having a hard time getting myself onto the winning ways, so to speak, over this last couple of days. But I think I finally found a set of teams that I'm truly, truly enjoying. And I'm not going to call them like the best ever. I'm not going to say that they're meta, but I do love how flexible this is, and this is something that I want to show off. And I tell you what, since actually doing this, my last couple of games that I've played, I think I fell out of the points once, only won 5th place, and that was because I was heavily distracted when playing that game. So, as you can see, this team's not doing too bad for itself here, and I'm going to showcase some of these teams that I was using during that time. Excuse me, with all of them being different versions of Aegis. Now, of course, with the Aegis team, of course, I love Archos, or the Archie line. Archie was the very first Illuvium that I've ever caught, and since then it's kind of stuck in there, especially as a support player. It's always been an Illuvium. I love to sneak in on basically any team that I can. And Aegis, of course, it being one of the few Illuviums that actually has Aegis, is just perfect for this kind of setup. So what I end up doing, yes, there'll be a lot of Archos, and there will be a little bit of crossover or carryover from team to team here. But the thing that I love about Aegis right now is the weapons, because there's a lot of team compositions that you can like go for that are really, really good right now, but it requires you getting one specific weapon. Like, say, Steam Harbinger, you usually need the Aqua Blast. Or for Inferno Arcanite, you need some sort of either the Boomerang or you need the Scion Gauntlet. Like, there's a lot of limitations that can really hold you back from being able to perform with that composition. Meanwhile, with Aegis, I'm going to be giving you 5 teams because there's 5 different weapons that you can use in this style without really changing your game plan too heavily. So, without further ado, this is the one that most people are very, very familiar with from the last patch, which of course is the Toxic Aegis, where you're basically just trying to quickly get up. You'll hear this a lot, but you'll quickly try to get your front line up with the Axon and the Caradulo. Get yourself an Archos as fast as possible so you have Aegis. And then, of course, you're going to be using the Ripple Flail. That's the water bulwark weapon in this instance. You eventually bond this to your Archos, get yourself Aegis, and you'll at least get 2. Your Riptorus or going into your Rip Lance is what you're going to want to start rushing, essentially. You would get yourself up to level 7, basically, as soon as you have your Axon, as soon as you have your Caradulo and your Archos. Get up to level 7 as safely and quickly as you can, while maintaining your economy. Like, don't super rush, but get yourself up to level 7, and then when you're sitting maybe at close to max interest, then maybe fire off a couple rolls here and there. Try to get that Rip Lance a little bit faster, because if you get this thing, it can absolutely carry you, and it is a beautiful, beautiful sight. As long as you got your Ranger pumping its stats into the Rip Lance, you've got the Archos, and then later on in the game, while you're also rolling for Rip Lance, of course, a Heady is also a tier 3, so you can start picking some of those up as well. Because if you manage to get that 3rd Aegis there with the Blotto, that is a lot of stats, and that is a lot of damage also getting pumped into Rip Lance, making it an absolute monster. Being able to also add on the Lesser Monk Gear, or not the Lesser Monk Gear, but the Greater Monk Gear to give it Berserker on top of all of that is absolutely incredible as well. But I don't want to dwell too much onto this one, because this is the one that most people know about. What I'm going to be showcasing are my other teams that I am going to be showcasing, and all the ones that I'm showing right here, right now, are all teams that I've either won with or a podium finish, so a second or third. Any video for newbies with an overworld guide? I can absolutely um, get something going there. In fact, I do on my YouTube channel as well, do have a video in regards to the catching side of things, especially if you're looking for the hollows, looking for the shinies of the game. And then my like first goals, like you get into the overworld, what you should do in terms of gearing up. I actually have those two videos still made. They're on the channel and they are still relevant for now. Of course, the MMO is coming out and that will eventually overtake the overworld. But for the meantime, it is still there and you can absolutely I definitely recommend taking a look because once you get yourself geared up, especially, everything else becomes so much easier. 1 second. Okay, so this, of course, is the team that everybody knows about. This is the toxic Aegis style. The one I'm going to showcase next is a little bit different. This one is what happens if you manage to get yourself the Ember Buckler instead. How to have it set up just like this here. And of course, big shoutouts to Illuvium for being able to make this team builder and actually let me visualize the team as I'm talking about it and not just kind of poking around in the team builder of the in-game Illuvium. So big thank you to Linky and the rest of the squad there and Illuvium. But of course, this is what happens when you get the Ember Buckler. So this is the Fire Bulwark weapon. And you're thinking, like, okay, if I link this to Archos, then all of a sudden now I've got Wildfire. Well, hang on to Wildfire. We'll see them probably in a little bit. But what you end up doing here, very, very similar in nature. You don't necessarily need to keep the Axon and Caradulo with this one because they're not going to sync with the rest or synergize with the rest of your team. But you can still pick them up if they're thrown at you to at least build a little bit of a tank line early and then sell them later. But you're going to be relying more so on the higher tier tanks in this instance. So when you're at, say, level 5 or level 6, let's say level 6, you're building your economy, you're not spending too much. You try to make sure you pick up a Greater Apon, get that evolved into the Greater Apon, get yourself the Archos, and then very, very similar in nature, start pushing not just to level 7, but push to level 8, because we are going to need a lot of higher tier Illuvials to truly get this one complete. Specifically, racing other players for Scoriox. That is going to be probably the hardest part, but if you're putting your economy into majority leveling yourself up while sitting at max interest, you can get there very, very quickly. And if you pick up Variox, you pick up Scoriox relatively quickly, it's rather, rather nice. And then one thing that also, of course, happens here with this is, of course, you bond your Ranger to Archos, you have Wildfire Aegis, which is okay. But if you bond this Ranger to your Greater Apon instead, you now have Magma Aegis. So that means that you have, of course, all the Magma going to be all around your units, dealing damage to anyone that wants to dive on into your bunker combination here. They have to deal with all the stuns coming out from your Apon. They have to deal with your blinds. And of course, you are tankier on your own Magma. So Magma Aegis basically supercharging your Scoriox with the Ranger going to be pumping an Aegis, Archos and Blotto likely as well. If you manage to get this, it is absolutely disgusting. So I definitely recommend giving this a try. Magma Aegis. Next one, of course, no particular order. I do want to emphasize that. I don't think one is ranked better over the other. It's just a matter of flexibility. The fact that you don't require one weapon to make one combination work is the selling point here with this Aegis squad. As I am now, I just won with this one yesterday. It was a hell of a lot of fun. Steam Aegis. So I had a game where not very many people were actually going water, and I had myself the Fire Empath staff. I was thinking about, of course, going for some sort of maybe Inferno, but then, of course, I was doing very, very well with Aegis. So I was thinking to myself, how can I spin this into Aegis? And Steam actually was the perfect option. We did end up getting, of course, the flame staff, you eventually bond yourself to one of your water tanks. So whether it be the Axon, whether it be the Caradulo, you get Steam Aegis that way. And then you're sitting at level 5 or say level 6 and getting yourself your Archos, Axon, and Caradulo once again. Then, very similar to the Magma Aegis, you're going to level yourself up all the way to level 8 and then start racing people for the Umber. If you happen to get this thing, and while your drone augments are also going for, say, Omnivamp, Combat Rhythm, like the Bloodthirst, while also getting like augments that will assist you with Omnivamp here for the Umber, this thing did not die once in my time playing in that game, and it was so incredible to witness. I hope I have the opportunity to show you this here on stream in a little bit. Is the Illuvium Vault integrated with the actual game or need the build team on the website? So on the website itself is where I'm building it. Off to the right-hand side here, I can break things. It has all the alluvials over here. I can say, for example, click and drag, or I can click Goliath. It'll pop off, I believe, over on the left-hand side. A little bit on the slower side, of course, but we'll see. There it is. It makes its way over in just a second. And then I can move them on the board as I please. I built all of these a little bit ahead of time, though, so we don't have to worry about the load times. But it's still a very, very useful website. Unfortunately, it's not directly integrated, I think, with the game. Like, I couldn't take something from my team builder on the Illuvium game itself and then just copy-paste it into the Illuvium Vault. But that would be kind of cool sometime down the road if maybe that could be a feature. So, of course, that is Steam Aegis based around the Umber as your carry with the Fire Empath Staff as the way to go there. Still got 2 more possible Aegis builds to go. And this one here is a more traditional bunker kind of combination. But this is Wildfire. So this did actually win me a game. And I know I meme on Wildfire a little bit because I do still feel like sometimes it's a little bit underwhelming. But this actually worked out extremely, extremely good. This is another greedy get to level 8 kind of build because you'll see there's no Axon, there's no Caradulo, so we don't even have to waste credits in our early game. Just bypass it and put your credits, get to 70, so you're starting to get all of your max interest. And then once you are getting max interest, anything you get above 70, just put into levels all the way up to level 8, where now we're going to be rolling and racing people for Blazonite. Being able to get that would be absolutely incredible. And then getting the Wildfire online requires a tank fire illuvial, which means there is only the one normally, that being, of course, the Flare, the Singe, or the Seer. I think in my game in particular, I had a Fire Groko, that the tier 0 that also stuck around for a little bit until I got the Singe and was able to get Wildfire relatively quickly in this way. But this is kind of like your bunker spin on it, and of course Blotto is already a Wildfire, so it blends in extremely good. It makes your Blotto, which is normally kind of unkillable, it just makes it that much crazier, and this is more of a sustained-based team. That's why we do also have Adorito here as well. I'm not going to necessarily rush for a Adorius, but if you happen to get one, by all means, that's fantastic. Boris is here more so just to get another Nature Alluvial, because you'll notice with this current setup, with the Ranger having the Nature Empath Staff, and then all of the Alluvials on here, we get 7 Nature. So we just need 1 Nature chip to get 8 Nature, and then it's even more powerful. And getting the 1 Nature chip isn't a guarantee, but it does happen more often than not, I feel. So you can have yourself 8 Nature Wildfire Aegis with a super chicken, basically, with this Blazonite. Last one I want to show off here. This has probably been my favorite so far, and this is Bloom Aegis. So we do end up picking up an Axon, but at the same time, we could probably even switch that up for Singe. So you could do the very, very quick route, just go up to quick level 8 once again. Early on, a lot of your focus is actually going to be onto Lalura, but I'm not necessarily rushing to get it to a Malura, for example. Like, I'm not spending any credits on rolling for Malura. I'm just strictly going to be using the... If I just... Like, I don't have Phosphorus yet. I'm kind of using Allura to start things off here, supercharging it. It's extremely tanky, but of course, when it does go down for the charm and the AoE damage it does do, if you do stack on a bunch of Omega Power onto that, it actually hits like a truck. So if you can make up for the lack of tankiness augments that you would normally stick on a Allura with the Aegis buff instead, and then be able to basically turn Allura into a mini nuke, it is extremely fun, but it does fall off, so that's why I do not necessarily like hard focus it for rolling. Instead, I'm trying to get actually up to level 9 as fast as I possibly can to get the Phorus going, get Phosphorus online. I have not lost, I think, or I say lost, but I have not dropped out of the top 3 every single time I've tried this build. Because a lot of people's, at least in my current rating, which I guess that is a thing, like, there's always the chance of, like, elo and whatnot in your current rank being a factor, but at the same time, I am also going up against players like Not Complain in my game, so these are high-ranked players, IPL players, and ranked veterans that this team is working on. So, it's definitely something I want to showcase. You'd end up in this case here, you bond your Ranger to the Archos, and you're A-okay, you're fine there. Pretty standard. And of course, with Bloom, every, I think it's 8 seconds or so, or every 15 seconds, there's quite the gap. But you end up getting a boost of Omega Power and a heal, so it does actually kind of sustain itself a little bit. One thing that I've also done with this team as well, just to add on that extra tiny little bit of sustain, is to actually throw a flood into this as well. And what you can do with this, at least, I honestly recommend for all of these Aegis builds, if you have the room, just throw a flood on there for one reason, or two reasons. One, the extra sustain's nice. But two, using a flood as a way to direct other spellcasters and kind of manipulate where they're targeting is quite nice. So if you see a Blazonite on the other side of the field, you see a Sinalf or something like that, something that wants to shoot the target the furthest away, or has like massive AoE damage, use the flood to kind of manipulate where that's going, and while also having a bunch of different sustain options. So these are the Aegis teams that I was able to cook up. Are these the greatest? Maybe, maybe not, but I've been having a lot of fun doing it, and of course, I've been having some decent success on the ranked ladder with them, so I definitely recommend you check them out. What's the build with Nature and Templar? I saw that with 12. There is a different option with, I believe it was this one here. One thing that I have seen some people do, while this video in particular is focused on Aegis, one way that this could be changed as well, because Blazonite is Templar, this does mean that if you happen to pick up a Rylu, let's see here. Get a Rylu on board here in just a second. Oh, I got 2 of them. Depending on how you want to do this, of course, say you have Rylu on the squad as well, you could easily just transition this into a Templar build by doing either Verdant Templar, if you happen to bond yourself with your foe or your Phorus, or you can turn this into Wildfire Templar by binding yourself with the Rylu. So yeah, that is definitely a little bit of extra flexibility there as well. Templar, definitely an option. Excuse me. But of course, with that, course, with that, again, that is my 5 or not my 5 Templar, I'm thinking about Templars now. With that, that is my 5 Aegis teams. I definitely recommend you give this a try. Again, I've been having some pretty decent success on the ladder. Is it the best build? Is it meta? I'm not going to guarantee you that in the slightest. But it's working for me so far, and maybe it'll work for you. If this video helped you at all, I definitely recommend dropping a follow or a sub here onto the YouTube channel. Definitely more to come. Lots of Illuvium content, whether it be guides, stories, or what have you. I'm just absolutely having a fun time here with Illuvium and looking forward to doing more. But with that, that's a video ender, but of course we're here live. We're just using this as a chance to get to record. The stream is not done by any means. So, it is Axodon hunting time, isn't it? Get that popped up here in just a moment. But it's honestly been a lot of fun trying these teams out here, and I just love, again, I know I'm a broken record at this point here, but knowing that I'm not hard set on getting one specific weapon to play the team composition that I want just makes this so nice. And like, I'm still using one of my favorites. I'm still using Archos. It's basically a staple in every single thing, and it is a lot of fun. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I hope they help, and I thank you for being here. And by all means, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong here, is it Drake? Drake just spelt a little bit differently? I don't want to butcher your name, so by all means, if I'm saying it wrong, please do let me know. Again, you're very, very welcome. I'm glad they're helping. Just loading up Illuvium here. Stop contest. It's my... Archos is mine, mate. Here's the thing. I'm never gonna contest you on Archelion, but I'm going to contest you for Archos. I just want 3. I just want three Archies. That's it. That's all I want. Yeah, if you want to roll for more, that's all yours. I'm not going to contest you on that. But what's good, Zalith? I hope all's going well. Okay. I'm hoping to try and sneak in 2 runs here. I want to have some ranked play around 11 o'clock, so it's about a half hour from now. That might be a little bit much to ask in terms of timing, because I want to make sure that I'm also getting value for my Abyssal Basin runs. And of course, I gotta do a shard check. Do I have my team even situated? Because I had some weird alluvials last time when I had my team. No, I could actually probably make this work. I'm just going for Axodons. Do I have any shards that I need to create for? Always forget to where they are. Resources, shards. Oh no, everything's cured. Okay, we're good. We can just go right into it. Verdant Aegis for the win. It's really, really satisfying. Absolutely. Yeah, having it with the Nature Empath staff. You can have Verdant Aegis, you could have, I think the one I showed off was Wildfire Aegis, but you could absolutely do Verdant Aegis as well. And either way, it's still just so tanky and so hard to get through. Alright, let's see if we can find ourselves an Axodon. I think I need 2 to technically finish everything here today. A Hollow Archie, we might take a look at that at some point. Little Atlas. Riptor, I might need to take a look at. Another Hollow Archie. Sophie. Lots of little guys here in this run so far. Revo, Eontes, Hologrilla, Virtuous Hydralinks, kind of interesting. Kookaloo's, Kling. I think I need Klings for skins, actually, so that might be a good pickup. Gerdulux and Kukaraf, I want to take a look at those, absolutely. Hollow Atlas, maybe. Okay, we're going to get skunked in terms of the Axodon this time. But we still... I keep knocking myself out of my map. What's going on here? Okay. So the Virtuous Hydralinks, that's what I want to take a look at first. Mystic Bloom, yep, absolutely an option. And that's what I like about these team compositions that we were showcasing here, because yes, you can go in with that one game plan in mind, but you have flexibility, which is just so beautiful, as I absolutely whiff that mushroom. Of course, I absolutely despise platformers, so sometimes trying to time my jumps can be a bit of a struggle. Right up here, I believe. There you are. Hello, beautiful. Take that down. And let's hop in and see what we got. I'm torn. There's so many things that I want to catch, but at the same time, if I'm really trying to push for Axodons here today, need to be quick. Let's get into the swing of things here. Of course, it's just going to be casting heals essentially this entire time, but not actually really being a threat. Get myself my shield. This gives me 2 shots at it. Let's give it a go. Stats-wise on this Hydralinks, I mean, it's full health and full Omega power. It's a glass cannon, but that's exactly what I would want. If you're fully contested on your planned build, what round do you decide to swap? So I wish I had a specific round that I can call out for, but I don't think I'm that well organized, if that makes any sense. 28% chance to get this guy, eh? Okay. Because like sometimes, first off, when round 4 comes around, or 1 second. Do we get this thing off a 28% chance? Not quite. I'm gonna have to overshard for it. I want it, even though it's a glass cannon. But if I am contested, I always do my best to try and not be. Like, say when round 4 comes around, before I even pick my weapon, I'm looking at what everybody else is doing. And if I happen to see... Aw, damn. I was hoping we were going to get that one. But my dear Lynx is not going to stick around with me here today. That's unfortunate. That was a good one. But I try to make sure that I'm not contesting too many people in regards to the possibilities of their compositions. Like, if I see a lot of people running grass, I might not go for the bloom option, for example. Like, Bloom Aegis, I'll probably ignore that. If I happen to see a lot of water, especially if I see Aqua Blasters, I'm not going for the Steam variant of the Aegis build. No Steam Aegis that time, if that makes any sense. So I try to keep myself out of harm's way in terms of these contesting moments, but if I had to absolutely like switch, I feel like maybe because Aegis is still so flexible, I could switch my weapon and switch my carry, because at the very least, I'm still building myself out to tank line, getting up to 5 bulwark, which can still be very, very flexible, and you can turn that into a bunch of different compositions. And I guess it's actually... Not only is the Aegis team flexible in terms of which weapon you get, but it's also extremely flexible in terms of what your carry ends up being. Because you can absolutely switch your weapon at one of the 2 rounds where it lets you. Because at the end of the day, you're still just building tank. I think the only real exception is if you're trying to go for Toxic Aegis. Because then in that instance, you were probably already rolling for Riptor. But with the rest of these builds, you probably could get away with just building tanks and then seeing where they go from there and switching your weapon if necessary. But all that yapping just essentially say that there is no round in particular that I'm thinking about swapping anything with. Yeah, I'm going for this Cling, but I want to see if these atlases are any decent. Almost here with this little atlas. And then I need the Cling for fodder. Yeah, because I might be going for some things in particular in this overworld run. But if I see something with great stats, I might just pick it up anyway. Alright, the Cling is going to be nice and cooperate here today. We'll pick them up. I've got some skins that they'll be ready for. In fact, actually, Drake, I think there was one game that I got a third with just, I think it was yesterday, where I had that kind of scenario actually come up, where somebody was challenging me for, I believe I was playing Toxic Aegis at that time. And other people had Riptoruses for fighter builds, and I'm like, okay, crap, I can't keep pushing for Riptoruses. What can I do? What can I do? I did actually pivot that into a 3 Invoker combination without actually having to switch my weapon, I don't think. And I was able to at least get a podium for it. I think it was a second even. I think Not Complain took me out, but was able to at least salvage some points out of that. And of course, all of that's just possible because at these early stages in the game, we're just building tank lines. What you put behind that tank line can be determined later if need be.
Gotcha.
I'm floating. Hopefully next year have this PC build play the game smoothly. Absolutely, heck. Fingers crossed. It would be awesome even if we can just have this on phone for you, so maybe you don't even have to wait for that PC build. That would be pretty legendary. I know personally, I would be grinding the arena a lot more if there was the phone option, and I know it's something they're working on. Just a matter of time. A little Hollow Gorilla unfortunately doesn't have any Omega power in the slightest here. But it is shiny, or hollow. I will end up picking this one up anyway. Just so I can eventually fuse another hollow. That's how I'm thinking about it anyway. This costs how much? 30? This is 3 shots at trying to get it. I think we got that. that'll be definitely incredible, and especially building the player base up. I know they are doing a lot of work with localization. The latest patch, I know, put a bunch more languages into the game as well. The fact that so many people have been trying to learn the game while using a language that wasn't their first language is mind-boggling to me. Just add props to them for being able to do so. And then, with that being implemented, mobile would, in theory, just be right around the corner. Use the common shard here this time. Running low on common shards. But I still have plenty of the tier 2 shards, which for whatever reason, when I did a farming session here in the overworld not too long ago, I found way more uncommon shards than I did just commons, which is very, very strange. I hardly do anything other than stage 1 runs as well. I don't have the risk tolerance, to say the least, to try and go for the stage 3s as much as some people. Watching from Philippines? Well, hello, welcome. That's awesome. Hope all's going well over there. We do pick up our hollowed out Lesser Gorilla. One of my long-term goals here with Illuvium is I treat this very similarly to how I treated Pokemon. Like, personally, right now, in Pokemon, I have, if you don't include any Mega Evolutions or any of these other, like, special forms or whatever, then I have, or like Galarian and Hisuian forms I do have, but like no Megas. I do have a living Dex for Pokemon. I was also in progress of making a living shiny Dex, but Pokemon just kind of burnt out on me a little bit, to say the least. Last couple of games have not necessarily kept me in for the long term, to say the least. And Illuvium's kind of definitely taken that place, at least for me personally. So with that, I want to get a living dex of all of the Illuvials so far. And eventually I want to make them hollow. That is the game plan. It is a very extremely long-term goal. And I'm curious if the MMO will make that easier or harder, but it is something I'm extremely excited about nonetheless. Because the one thing I can't really do with my Pokemon group is go on a traditional MMO raid with it. Like, yes, I can go into one of those portals or whatever in the middle of the overworld there in Scarlet and Violet, and I can just sit there, mash A over and over again on the exact same move after hitting Belly Drum once and call it completed. But I'm looking for something maybe a little bit more interesting than that. That's the same generation that hooked me as well. Like, I played Red, for example. I played Red when I was very, very little. I think maybe when I was 6. Maybe younger, maybe older, I can't remember. But it was Gold and then Ruby that really, truly hooked me on. But then I took a bunch of games off because I did not like... what would it have been? Gen 4, Gen 5, just to keep it simple. I was not necessarily a fan of those ones. I came back for X and Y, though. Okay, Lynx. In theory, this is the perfect little lineup if I have my Ranger. Stand right here. Line them up. And then... yeah. Gorilla, you need some levels. I think I could take this out just as is. Yeah, that's what hooked me into Illuvium as well, though, because oddly enough, the only reason I know about Illuvium is because M&J TV, a Pokemon YouTuber, did an ad in a video for Illuvium way back in the day when the first Illuvium land sale was a thing. And that got me to look into Illuvium, and I loved the project. I loved where it was, the idea of it, and wanted to see how it ended up going. I know MNJTV actually had to apologize to his community because they were giving him hell for promoting a Web3 game. Well, what he calls a mistake, I say thank you for. Hollow Archie. Can we pick this one up? Stats-wise, it's not the greatest, but it's still a shiny. It's still a hollow. Would love to pick it up. Are we getting feisty, little turtle? Okay. Don't make me use an uncommon on you. See if we can scoop this up. There we go, okay. As I say, don't make me use an uncommon, it's not going to. Max attack speed, max movement speed. As if this turtle is meant to move. That's alright, though. It'll just eventually be shiny dex fodder for when I inevitably need to make my hollowed out Archelion. Because I've got a bunch of hollow Archies, I've got a bunch of hollow, or 2 hollow Archoses. I just need a hollow Archelion. Then will be golden there. Riptor, I do want to actually snag. I'm still looking for a good baby Riptor. I, oddly enough, though, do already have a hollowed out Riptorus and a Rip Lance. Because I love those Illuvials so much, they are one of the few Illuvials that I've actually gone into the marketplace and picked up. They have terrible stats, but I just wanted to have a hollowed out one. Oh, you little bugger, I didn't even see you there. You were hiding in the water. There we go, gotcha. I know I should be farming you. There. Yeah, the stats on that turtle literally could not be almost any more useless, but it's okay. It's hollow. I still love it. Alright, there's the little Riptor. Of course, it's going to be bringing some friends here. Let's see what we got. Here a blue. Am I seeing this correct? The overlay is trolling me a little bit. There we go. I mean, that's a rather tanky little Riptor. That's not the worst thing in the world. It might be my best one, oddly enough, if I can manage to catch this thing. I don't want to count my chickens before I hatch them here. Get my beautiful Arcane Floor Links in the fight here this time. Pair it up with Axon. Throw a suit onto the Ranger, throw my guy a weapon just in case. How much is it? It's 40, so that's 2 shots. Yeah, this should be fine. Of course, finding this guy in particular, if I can actually manage to move the camera properly. Finding this Arcane Floor Links out in the wild here in the overworld, still probably one of the highlights of my Illuvium overworld career so far. I wish it had better stats, but it is still so beautiful. Am I planning on playing Leviathan? I'm not gonna say no. Like, I do not have the team by any means to properly compete. Team's not that strong. But I still do love the thought of like going out here and trying to find these Illuvials with fantastic stats. I just don't have the bandwidth. I just don't have the time. If I had absolutely no work, no kids, no responsibilities, I would be here constantly trying to farm Illuvials with the greatest of stats. And I would probably even look to like send them to people, try to help out like players as well trying to play Leviathan. But I just straight up don't have the time. So I will play Leviathan, but I know that I'm going to be at a disadvantage. I know personally what I would love to see going into the next year. And I know it's not necessarily a popular opinion to a lot of our newer comers to Illuvium. But right now, the IPL, for example, the Illuvium Pro League, it runs off of the Leviathan Gauntlet, which is the free-to-play version, right? Where none of your stats matter. And then we have one-off tournaments for Leviathan. I personally want to see that switched. I want the Illuvium Pro League to be Leviathan. I want our top prizes and our top competition to be Leviathan. Not even necessarily for the whole, like, promotion of the Web3 ecosystem or anything along those lines, which of course is a fantastic thing. But of course, those that may remember, I'm not here for the crypto side of things. What I love is going into battle with alluvials that are mine. And I want Leviathan to be that. I want people to, or I want the IPL rather, to be that. I want people to be competing at the top stage of Illuvium with the alluvials they caught, or for some, that they bought. And then let's have one-off tournaments for the free-to-play stuff. That's personally how I'd love to see it. That's wrong rock. Because I love the Illuvium Pro League, even if it stays as is right now, where it is free-to-play, like it is what it is, that's A-okay. It's not going to be a deal-breaker for me. But I think it would push it over the edge to the next level of awesomeness, just to keep it lightly, if it was that way. Will that be aligned with the MMO? So I imagine the MMO will tie in there at some point. The one thing I do want to emphasize, though, I'm not actually an Illuvium staff member. I do commentary, of course, for them with the Illuvium Pro League. But, like, anything internal, any sort of announcements, any sort of, like, gameplay updates, I know nothing about unless they've previously announced it on Discord or, like, Discord or X or something like that. So, like, what I was talking about, the localization and the mobile, they were talking about that in their town hall, that those things were coming. So, in terms of what will be aligned with the upcoming MMO and such, I have no idea, but I imagine they would want to, if that makes any sense. Another hollowed out Archie to the collection here in a second. This run was pretty crazy. There was like 4 or 5 hollows in this run. Pretty ridiculous. I know personally I'm extremely excited for whenever the MMO does end up coming out. I'm a little bit heartbroken looking at the leaks, for example, because as of right now, I'm seeing a lot of sword usage, for example. And that's fantastic, don't get me wrong. I know the up close and like fighter style, the DPS classes of sorts are the more popular ones. But I'm actually a support main. Or if I do play damage, I'm a spellcaster. So I haven't necessarily gotten to see too much about what that would look like yet. All I know that when the time comes, if your team needs a healer, you know where to look. Come find me. This Archie is so stubborn, my goodness. I'm gonna have to actually use my second shard here. You saw me shooting some rocks. I actually need to start loading up again on common shards for instances like this here, because I'd rather not use my tier 2s if I don't have to. But not the end of the world if I do. Alright, there we go, Archie. has a little bit of everything except Omega Power, so this one's definitely going into the Hollow Gulag for fusing. Now I'm torn. Do I do one more run of Overworld to try and complete and find some Axodons? Try and complete the Axodon skin set? Or do I move towards Arena? The original plan was to go for Arena. Just want to find some rocks to shoot real fast. But this is chill. I've been enjoying myself. That might not actually be shards, is it? Yeah. I got baited. Snag that for when I need to level. That is yellow, maybe? It might be. Yeah, my eyes are really putting the hurt on me here today, apparently. I'm looking for this one in particular, I think. There we go, some common shards. That's what I'm looking for. Let's go to the forge, and I'll think about what to do next here. Not a bad run. Lots of hollows that I can eventually use for fuse fodder. We did get the Riptor, too. Kicking myself that virtuous Hydrolinx ran from us, though.
Am I still in one piece? Oh, good.
Forgot about the Cling as well. Definitely needed that for skins. Get those shards cooked up. But this is good. It's been keeping my mind off everything else going on, so I think I might do one more overworld run. We'll do 1 or 2 arena runs, since arena games are about like 25 minutes now. Or just under 30. And then our Illuvium 0 cooldown lap. Might put me a little bit over time, but I think I need it today. One more time. Of course, an exciting weekend up ahead here for us. We do have the Illuvium Pro League. The first part of the World Championships is going to be happening tomorrow. I am very, very thankful to have the opportunity to commentate that. So you will see me on Illuvium stream. It's going to be an incredible final 2 weeks here of the season. I cannot wait to see how it goes. All right, Axodon. We need you. Where are you? Stoic Hydrolinx. I'll definitely take a look at that. That's the wrong rock for shards, I believe. I'm not too concerned about that. That's a lot of Archoses. That's a Caradulux. Look, there's a Hollow Archie. Hollow Grilla, Hollow Archie. Axon. The Axodon might be getting away from us here today. Riptorus. Gladly take a look at you. The last couple. DeForest. Axodon is going to get away here today. The Illuvium Pro League will be on Illuvium stream itself, so Illuvium.io. We'll be hosting that one. I believe they have channels on Twitch, YouTube, and X, and maybe even Facebook. But yeah, Paz will be there alongside myself and Caveman. Hello, beautiful. Do I have this linked? Need to check my sheet. Let's see, Stoic Hydra links. I do have one. Okay. You may occasionally see me looking at something else. I have a spreadsheet that I actually keep track of all of my captured alluvials and then their hollowed or non-hollow forms. And then it's also the same sheet where I have all of my blueprints from my Illuvium 0. So sometimes you'll see me referencing a sheet. That's what that's about. Okay. Hello, sweetheart. I was wondering if that would ever happen. Because, of course, every time I see a fully evolved links of any kind, I said it once and then it's just kind of stuck where I end up saying, oh, hello, beautiful. And then my wife yells from across the room, oh, hi there. I knew that would happen eventually. Of course, this Lynx is going to be a rather large pain in the side. It's rather tanky, so it does scare me only using these many alluvials. But if I use any more, I'm going to only have the one shot at catching it. Stats-wise, what is it? Oh, it's got resistance. Probably my best one. It's obviously not amazing, but I mean, it's kind of cool. Wish it had HP. I want to have 2 shots at capturing it. Let's see. This might actually kill me. Thankfully, this Arcane Hydrolynx that I do have is actually a beast. So, hopefully it can handle it. And then Tianti is pretty decent as well. Nearly perfect. And we were able to take it down. Take a look at this. Oh god, that's pretty low. And then Hiru. Yeah, we're not catching either of those. I have 2 shots. The yellows give me 28%. I do not like that. I think I'm immediately going to overshard, go for the borderline 80% chance. I did scoop up a rare shard in that last run, so I'm not feeling as guilty of oversharding. And see if we can get this beast into the team. There we go. It's gonna cooperate. If only it had HP, I would essentially call this thing borderline perfect for me. The Omega power being so low definitely hurts, but at least it's a tank. It would still be able to do the job that it needs to. So, I'm happy with them. That makes up for the Virtuous Lynx, or Virtuous Hydra Lynx that ran away from us earlier. Okay, next up, let's see what we should take down. Those aren't Lazarite, is it? Nope. Okay. Okay, Gorilla, Archie, no thanks. Gyaradulo. Possibly go for that here in a second. It's the Riptorus that I really wanted to find. Let's get that one first. While I may have hollows, I do not necessarily have good Riptoruses right now. It'll be a hard catch, but if we happen to get it, would be pretty sweet. Could be right around the corner here. There you are. I know I should be collecting those things. They're just so annoying. Especially with how many blueprints I want to start sending on through the transducers. and Illuvium 0 for. I should be collecting those little wisps. Or those little bugs. The morphopods, that's what it is. I should be collecting those. Okay, let's get suited up. Is Riptorus. Okay, it's gonna be skin fodder, unfortunately. Tofi, nothing to... Okay, yeah, this is literally just a skin fodder one, unfortunately. Heartbreakingly so. Cut ourselves up like this. For 55, we probably don't need the app on. Just do it like that. Clean it up nice and quickly. Let's see if this Riptorus cooperates. The suits for the Riptorus are one of my favorites so far, though. I love the color, the theme there of the Riptors. Or rather, Riptorus and Riplance. You bugger. I am not using a tier 4 shard on you, so you better cooperate. I know it's a 30% chance, but come on, mate. Oh, you're gonna be a jerk, aren't you? Alright. I guess it's going to go back into the wild. I did not want to use a tier 4 shard. The tier 4 and tier 5 shards I rarely ever find. And I do not want to be using it on a rather weak Riptorus. Okay, do I go for the hollows? I can't remember what was up here. Seaforest was up here. That's what I would like to see. I do have a Seaforest, but I do not have a good one. Love to be able to have a good one. Outside of Aegis, my go-to teams tend to be Scion-based or Invoker-based. If I do end up playing Leviathan one day, I would love to take my old Ascendant team, basically, which was like Wildfire and Invoker with Verdant. Would love to be able to kind of mimic that in Leviathan. One thing I find so annoying, though, is that the morphopods actually run away half the time. I wish I could just scoop them up. If they didn't run away, I would genuinely farm them every once in a while. Like, I would go out of my way to actually catch them. Oh, we have a Caradulox, and what a battle here. For stage 1, this is kind of crazy. Full HP on this Caradulox. What am I looking at? Railu? Look at this Railu! Another Seaforus who has literally nothing, but hey. We came here for the Seaforus, but I'd love to walk out with this Caradulox. But more importantly, this Railu. That's actually not bad. Okay, I cannot skimp out on units this time, though, but at the same time, I do want to try and catch 2 Alluvials, so this is a tough task. Okay. So this costs 55, you cost 40, so I need over 90 by the end of this. Line up my good Hydrolinks. Shoot on through. Is there any way I can get something under 90? Or rather, under 30. I think there is a way. I don't like it, because it means I'm highly focused on Axodon the tank. Let's add maybe TNT in here. optimally, I catch Railu first off one shot, then I'd have 2 shots for Caradula. If I'm thinking about this correctly. I think I can actually give my ranger the weapon and still be fine. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Quick maths. Good shot on the Sepphoris. How much damage does it do? That's quite a bit, but at least it was just the ranger that ate it. Okay. I feel better now. That was actually a pretty tough squad for a stage 1. So, first and foremost, Railu. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm giving you the yellow shard. Then optimally you stay in there. There we go, there we go. Alright, we got ourselves a good Railu. Not bad in the slightest. And then now... Caradula, remind me what your stats were. You at least had full health, which probably... Hey? Was it full health and a little bit of resistances? Honestly, let's give this a shot. I only have one Caradulax right now. And I think I have it just because it's hollow. Let's see if we can snag this. There we go. Best case scenario, we got them both. We came here for the Sepphoris, but left with a Caradulax and a very well-trained Railu. I'm happy about that. That's a sick pickup. There was one more Caradulax, I believe, down at the bottom of the field. What else do I have marked? I know there's the bunch of hollows down here. Yeah, I guess we're just going down here. Jumping in the walls, I would have absolutely given myself a concussion if this was real life. Just over 2,000 points left to go. Pick up a couple of these hollows, and I think we should be good. First one right around the corner. Pick that up nice and quick. I wonder how Archie is going to behave in the MMO, because yes, the Illuvials fight back in the MMO, but I'm curious if Archie would be timid, like actually run away anyway, kind of thing. Okay. Pretty straightforward one here this time. We just put up our ranger with its usual tank gear. Slightly adjust my angle. Maybe let's go for the 2 DPS. And then let's give Appon some experience this time. Much easier compared to the last one we had to do. A classic Arcane Link's airball. Love the Arcane Links, but it's definitely questionable at times in terms of its targeting. Atlas, nothing impressive, but not terrible. Archie, wish it was a little tankier, but it's got the Omega power. And then basically an okay Tatofi, but I'm just going to end up going for the Archie. See if it'll let me get away with just a common shard. And it will. There we go. One more to the pack. Not going to worry about the rest of these because there are plenty other hollows still to collect in this area. I think there's like 4 of them all around. I don't know if I'm just getting lucky or what, because you may even notice, like, in my reaction, like, I see hollow, and I'm not popping off, per se. Like, I'm not super, super ecstatic about it. Part of that is because it's just hollows that I already happen to have, so it's okay. But at the same time, if a dark hollow shows up one day, I will lose my mind. Especially if it gets away. I've had one do that before, and it's so heartbreaking. Like these hollow lesser gorillas, for an example, I have an absolute abundance of. I might be close, actually, from just being able to fuse 100% chance of hollow, 3 hollows just constantly over and over and over again to get the exalted monk here, or not monk here, exalted gorilla hollowed out. Axon, lead the charge. Gorilla, go dive. Then that should be plenty in theory. We have a little bit of room for more if I wanted to. Let's just go. That's definitely something I have to take a look at during my own time here. I think that'd be a cool stream, just constantly fusing hollows regardless of stats. And just increasing the shiny decks of sorts. Even tier 0s I know I need to actually do that with. Yeah, let's take a look at some of these stats on these Illuvials. The Caradulo, it's not terrible to be honest, but I'm going to pass. Oh my god! That's actually not bad at all. I wish it had attack speed, but damn, this lesser gorilla is pretty sick. And then Archie is Archie. Okay. I'm going to use a yellow shard. I do not want this one to get away. This is easily the best hollow I have, if this catches. And we're going to snag it. There we go. I know it's like a 97% chance, but I am still extremely nervous about it. But just like that, lesser gorilla, hollowed out. This is easily the best one that I have. Max attack, max health, max move speed. Almost maxed out on resistances and Omega Power as well. Just a little bit of a lackluster attack speed, but that is still pretty sick. I am very happy. This has been a great run. I'm glad we went for another round here in the overworld. I've got one more catch left in the tank. There is another hollow just down the river, it looks like. Pick that up and then we'll get into the arena. Maybe see if I can get some of these Aegis teams to build. Or see if maybe I get stream sniped so hard that I have to be forced to adapt. We'll have to see. The Atlas or the Caradulox? Actually, I kind of want to take a look at the Caradulox first. I have a full set of hollow Atlases, Axons, and Axodons. So I want to see if I can maybe find myself a good Caradulox. There you are. Scoop you up real quick. So the one that we caught earlier had max health and then a little bit of attack damage, but still plenty of room for improvements. And then even just getting another Caradulox for the sake of the skin gulag will be quite nice. Let's get this situated. Exxon. Go here. I don't know how I'm going to be able to truly hit this with my Arcane Lynxes. I might just have to do something like this. Karadulox, it's 55, so I have 2 more shots as is. If I send Gorilla over, does that... that makes it so I have only 1 shot. Let's switch out Lynx for Eanti. And I think I can give my Ranger a weapon and still be fine. Actually, I think I could give my Ranger a suit and he'll still be fine too. Still above 55. Yeah, let's do something like that. Of course, big thank you to everybody hanging out here today. Hope you're having a great day so far. And thanks just for hanging out and chilling. Glad to have you here. Of course, we do this every Monday and Wednesday. And then depending on what's going on with the Illuvium Pro League, you'll see me on Illuvium stream on the weekend. Unfortunately, this Karadulox is a little bit less to be desired. But I'm still going to pick it up for the sake of skins. This will round up our overworld portion of the stream. Try and get 2, maybe a 3rd ranked match. Stream might be a little bit longer here today than usual. Karadulox is here. And now we are empty on energy. We got the most out of that run, with the exception of diving through the little energy puddles or whatever you want.